Oh yeah, I've turned my mic on. I forgot about that part. And then I'll turn everybody else's mics on. I think I have the power to mute everyone at any time.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I don't feel good about that at all.
Yeah,
I trust you.
Whenever.
I trust. I trust.
I don't. I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, and I can't throw you.
I should get a beep. No, I shouldn't get a beep. I shouldn't be allowed to have one of those.
Like a sensor?
Yeah.
I think you should have one because sometimes you say things and I'm like, damn, he really. Ooh, that was me. I would have censored that one.
I mean, he gets close sometimes.
It's charming.
Is it?
No. Yes.
Is it endearing? Is it charming? No, I don't.
It's
think
nuanced.
Maybe in your little head. Yeah, nuance.
Nuanced.
Why don't you? Welcome to Greetings from Internet USA. Groovy Kaiju.
Yo, what
Below me.
Blow? Do you think Groovy Kaiju blow me?
I said below me. I said below me.
Whatever.
Whatever, everybody. Hello.
Hello. 3D Blast. John Krasinski. Discotheque. And of
John
course,
Krasinski. You've been watching Ren and Stimpy?
Is he in? Is John Krasinski in that?
Oh, I'm thinking of another John K. Whoops. John Felucci.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've been watching Ren and Stimpy. Thank you for asking.
Whatever. 90s kids unite.
What other famous Johns are there? John Coltrane?
Right.
John Henry.
John Coltrane lately. John Henry. John Deere.
John Deere.
John Deere. Yeah.
Just all the Johns are machine.
Genre.
Machinists.
Yeah, genre.
Genre. Yeah.
Genre. John Mulaney.
John the Baptist.
Hey, Johnny Depp.
All right.
Got my head cut off. Who cares? You know.
The Porta John.
Hey, I'm not that small.
God, this show sucks.
Yeah.
Well, happy 9/11. Woo!
No.
It's 9/11 Eve. Thank you very much. 9/11 is tomorrow.
Vaporwave scene loves 9/11. Here, let's do moment of silence for 9/11.
Greetings from Internet USA.
What?
Can we talk now?
No. Well, we gave it as much respect as the rest of the scene does.
Oh.
Get your wallets out, baby, because it's 9/11. The only two towers are the towers of cash.
Tomorrow's my baby brother's birthday. He was born on September 11th. Not the exact day, but the day.
Hey,
The day
happy
of.
early birthday to him.
Wow.
A day.
Does he know you make music?
Yeah, actually, I sampled him from one of my songs. He's like,
9/11?
I remember. No, there was like once I was filming him just playing Fortnite, and he got like a chicken thing, and I like took the video audio out, and like him hitting the dab is like one of my drops. So I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh, nice." Well, literally, welcome to Dab Town.
Well, hey, at least no one will ever forget it. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. Let's.
God damn it!
I love this shit. You could riff off this forever, dude.
You can make a whole album off this.
You can make a whole album off this, yeah.
You can make a religion out of this.
Yeah. You could No Lives Matter out of this.
I like that. It's blunt.
You could AOL out of this.
Just naming all his albums.
Speaking of full-time musicians, we brought Groovy Kaiju on today to talk about the return of both, I guess, IRL in a way for this little pocket of time, and also kind of about, you wanted to talk about going full-time music or vaporwave or a combination of all the above art. I guess.
So that I'm not full-time personally. I'm still doing my day job, but I've been doing a lot of marketing research and stuff, and some things are going up and to the right on my graph, so thought I could share what's been working for me for anyone else that's interested.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I was like, you got like tips, and I was wondering if they were like art of the deal, like scam tips. So they're like, you have to intimidate your audience.
I only have a single tip, but I could definitely share some learnings.
You know, he's got a class. You could buy it on Skillshare. You know?
Groovy Kaiju Masterclass.
Yo.
Little price, $9.99 per hour. You know.
999 yan yan yan. What is the Groovy Kaiju tip?
We start with this.
So
you want to start with this? You want to start
with this, or do you want to start with IRL?
Doesn't matter. We'll get to both.
All
Let's
right,
start with this. We're already on it.
Yep.
All right, cool. So, one thing is like one thing is kind of learning how to like get your song, like just how Spotify works in general, like kind of like hitting the right algorithms and stuff. So the course I bought was it's called Spotify Growth Engine by Andrew Southworth. Let me take a huge step back actually. So if for those who know, I also make a bunch of lo-fi stuff under the name of Visceral.
Yep.
And this has a lot of context behind it. I'm sorry, but pretty much for that alias, I've been making beats on it for like 8 years. One day I woke up and someone hit me up and was like, yo, dude, someone stole your beat. And I was like, what do you mean someone stole my beat? And someone had just downloaded my song from...
Yeah.
No, it's someone, their name was like, I think their name was Raphael. Anyway, it was some random person. But what they were doing was going on SoundCloud and finding like lo-fi producers, downloading their beats off of SoundCloud and just re-uploading the Spotify into their own name.
Ooh.
And I went to go check my beat and it had like 2 million streams. I was like, hold it. Hold it. I had to argue with Spotify for like 4 months to get the rights back and stuff. But then the beat was doing good, stuff like that. But the reason why this is important is because then from there I was like, well, how do I take this and then start actually doing music stuff, because my music is good apparently, like, oh wow, I didn't know that.
It was just marketed also, like it was like that, like I've heard this story before, and I was like, part of that is like you got your beat stolen, but like what was the downside?
The guy probably made like $6,000.
Exactly.
That's
But then
that Spotify was like, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. And Spotify was like, we don't care.
But what,
It's
like,
what?
but the fact that like I'm not saying it wouldn't have blown up under you, but it's almost like
it's very bittersweet. I get
yeah.
where you're going. Yeah, because on one hand, I wouldn't be here talking about marketing stuff if that one guy hadn't like stole my beat, and I was like, wow, my music's good. Let me actually like figure this out for real.
Anyways.
But yeah, so from that, I was like, all right, well, I don't know what he did, so let me just go on YouTube and find out what people are saying, so on and so forth. And I'm submitting the playlist. This one guy was like, wow, I love your song that someone stole from you. That's now yours. You know what I mean? And then like got onto their playlist and like it kind of helped. And then they were like, I was like, I'll be nice. Like, you want to collab? And he was like, yeah, sure, I'm down to collab. And I was like, dope. So we made a beat together. And then I sent him like a little skeleton of a song, and he sent me back like this classical masterpiece. And I was like, well, why are you so good? And he's like, oh, I've been a composer for video games and movies for like 15 years. And I was like, what? Like, who are you making lo-fi hip hop? He was like, it was easy, so I just started making it, and it works. And I was like,
good to know when I struggle to make it, people are like, I don't give a shit. It's the easy one.
Well, I mean, if you have 15 years of musical experience, I mean, then it's just like, yeah. But so then from that, I was like, cool. Well, I'll do more playlist submission. And he was like, Doc, I'll handle it. And I was like, what are you gonna do? And he was like, here's this course you need to buy. And I bought it. And yeah, pretty much it's just a course on like how to market Spotify and stuff. And that's been a really huge help. I'd highly recommend it. It's called Spotify Growth Engine by Andrew Southworth. But they also have a YouTube channel, and there's another guy named Tom Dupree III on YouTube that I highly recommend, that do all types of different Spotify marketing tutorials and stuff. And kind of like where it gets really interesting, and like maybe it's like a dirty word to bring up, but a lot of it is like social media advertising, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's just Instagram. Because here's why it works. Because my quarantine hobby as well was just marketing in general. I read like probably like 6 books, and the idea being is that like, when you go to Google so you want to search something to solve a problem. So that's why you see like problem solving type things on YouTube and Google for ads and stuff. So like if you Google, I don't know, like I need a wedding planner, you would, no one just knows a wedding planner. Like you don't go on Instagram and look for wedding planner. You search it on Google. Whereas Instagram is like, or any social media, like discovery-based social media like Instagram, you're like open to new things. You're trying to waste time. So if you see a song recommendation, the visual is cool, you're like, yeah, it's going to take me 5 seconds to, play this full snippet that I already liked. And I'll just go back to Instagram and keep watching Instagram. So then that's a great way to introduce your music to people, because it's like very unobtrusive. People are already open to it, and so on and so forth.
Happens on TikTok with me, a lot of TikTok stuff. I'm like, that's a good song.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah, TikTok has opened so many doors for a lot of artists, because it happens to be one of the most music centric social medias because of the introduction of like you can search by sound. You've never been able to do that before.
Exactly. The thing that's interesting about TikTok, though, just from I'm kind of regurgitating what I've watched in the YouTube video, kind of here a little bit, but the thing about TikTok is like you can get one song to blow up, but people who are really successful on TikTok have to be able to consistently blow up their songs, and that's the real secret. Because you can get one song to blow up, and a label will be like, "Yeah, sure, we'll give you like a ton of money for it," and yada yada yada. But like, if you can't keep blowing up on TikTok, then it's and like I've only noticed like a handful of people or like producers can like consistently blow up because they just got like the memeiness or like they know how to like they figured it out really well for their music. Like Eldre, I think another person's Freddie Dredd, but I don't know them. I don't follow them enough to say them. But
I've been listening to Pink Panthers a bit, and I think her songs blew up on TikTok. And I went to Spotify and just hit play, and then less than 10 minutes later, it's playing somebody else's music, and I'm like, wait, what? And I realized she's only got 5 singles that are like less than 2 minutes long, and I'm like, oh, she's got like 10 million monthly listeners, and it's all like a TikTok single that blew up. And I'm just like, the music's good, but there is none of it. How the fuck? Like 10? What
like
the?
that.
Short and sweet. Repeat. Play it on loop.
So that's another thing we could talk about too. That's interesting is because the way Spotify pays people is if you listen to a song for 30 seconds, you get the stream payment. So the shorter you make music, the better, because if you put it in like a playlist, you're going through more songs per minute than if you had like a 5-minute song. So like Tool and like jazz bands are getting screwed, but like people who can make those like 1 minute, 30-second songs are like
Tool's getting
breaking
screwed.
it in. I mean, but Tool makes these like 10-minute like
bean.
these 10-minute rock ballads.
Okay, then here's my question. What would you say is like the cap on how long a song should be?
No cap.
To be like 3-4 minutes?
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, so that's the thing is that like you'll whatever you think is best. It depends on what you want. If you're making music and like your goal isn't to like specifically cater to Spotify, because Spotify does have some downsides, then like I don't know, it depends. So like the reason why I think lo-fi does so well on Spotify, because I'm sure y'all have seen, or like even you'll see like Drake now is releasing like super short songs, is because of this whole theory. So if you're making like pop, the shorter the better. So like 2 minutes maybe, and like I've seen people on lo-fi make like 59-second songs. It's like, what the hell? It's like one loop and like, all right, song's over. So yeah.
It's crazy. I wrote down something about, I was like, because I wasn't sure what you were going to say tonight, but I was like, is any of this kind of like, and I wouldn't say morally questionable. Making stuff shorter isn't morally wrong, but I'm just like, it's like Spotify is forcing you to make shorter songs, and then there are people out there, you were saying like certain genres get screwed, almost like how YouTube screwed animation because of the way they changed how they make money, that like animation just got screwed from views, time watched, and all this different stuff. If that's like, do you feel like it's impacting negatively to the art form, or do you think there's still room for like regular?
I don't think so. Because as I'm like learning more about marketing, I'm starting to realize that music is like 10% art, and like the music, at least popular music, it's like 10% art, and like 90% like a team of 100 people of managers and marketers that like set up, and it's all meticulously done. And I don't think Spotify is inherently doing something bad, because even if you go back in history, like the reason why albums are around 40 minutes is because that's how much music you can fit on a vinyl.
That's true.
So like, they get their 2 hits, and then the other 6 songs didn't matter as long as it just like filled up the vinyl space so they could sell something. So
that's true. That's something
I don't
think about now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just become baked in. So I think art's always been influenced by like, the medium and the marketing. And
I think that gets a pass in a way, because it's like, it's also the same time most people want to listen like all right, that's like an hour of my time. It's like it feels like almost like a movie or something, where it's like that's enough time to move on. So it weirdly syncs up in that regard. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it like just happened to influence it, but like it's lucky, I guess. Because
I mean, the other part of it is, I think depending on the type of music, will dictate what, like, is it like I sit down and listen to this like full-heartedly, you're like focusing on the music, or is this you put it on the background while you're multitasking, doing work around the house, you're vacuuming, you're dusting, or you're doing something like that, or you're just in a car on the way to work and you need something in the background.
You're hanging out with your friend Dustin.
Exactly.
Well, I feel like one thing that Spotify does get right is definitely the what their algorithmic playlist and their editorial playlist, even especially with like the rise of the Future Funk and the Vaporwave official playlists. Whoever curates those knows their stuff. Like I'm pretty sure they scout out like Twitter or Instagram or social medias because they get deep cuts from the community, like people who don't have a huge following, and like everyone in the scene suddenly shoots up and plays, and a lot of people are discovering them now.
Mm-hmm. It's actually bizarre how I'm like, and this is gonna sound rude, but there's sometimes people who I'm just like, damn, okay, like they got so and so on here, like, you know, like they're kind of new, or like I'm just like, all right, like who is adding these in a good way, where I'm just like, there's somebody here, I think, that cares. I think. Yeah,
I mean, so this is maybe my hot take.
Do it.
So from what I know is that like Spotify, they contract out all their curation to like third-party companies.
Yeah. Right.
So like, I don't know if y'all noticed, but when the Future Funk playlist first dropped, it was like, okay, this is like not Future Funk or Vaporwave. This is just whatever they felt like it. And I think they probably said, hey, we want a Vaporwave playlist. We noticed it's doing good on YouTube. Spotify's incentive is to bring as many people to Spotify to listen to music. So if there's a sizable crowd of people listening to music, they want them to come to Spotify. So they probably make a Vaporwave playlist. Guy just scrambled some stuff together, and then he was like, well, my job is to find good Vaporwave, so let me go like actually get into the scene. And you know, it's definitely improved over time.
Yes,
yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think it's like someone we know. Like, I don't think
no, that's not what I was
given
implying.
A task.
It's fucking. Okay, cool. It's just. What if it was someone? If it was someone we know, who would it be?
It's me,
Indy.
You know. Then why am I not
Indy?
on there,
imagine. It's quiz.
It's quiz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my!
It's a good. Well, it's here. I don't know. This is probably off topic. I don't know if your story and tips continued. By the way, if it does, feel free to continue after this. But more after this. How do you feel about like so Spotify is like music corporation incarnate, yet they're openly supporting sample-based music. It gives me a weird.
Right?
It's like. Yeah. Is this just an open secret that we can both kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge? Like, you're like, don't fuck with me. If like, as long as there's no big lawsuits, we're cool.
Yeah, we're cool with Daniel Ek, right? 0.003. All right. Yeah, see you later.
It's just like, yeah. Go ahead.
If I may, so I actually have a story kind of related to this. I think the fact that Spotify is letting so much sample stuff go is like just kind of a testament to like how Spotify's gotten so big, where they've hit that like tech point where it's like, the government will catch up eventually. You know what I mean? Because even like some things like payola, you can kind of argue what's happening on Spotify, but
I've seen that stuff.
Yeah,
now.
And for those that don't, I didn't learn it recently, but like payola being like the idea someone would pay a radio station to play your song so it blows up. Like you can kind of.
And it's illegal.
It's illegal. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And so Spotify though has that now, and it's like
playlist pitching.
Not pitching, but it's like you can pay for them to like basically kind of promote you more.
Yeah, if you're friends with Spotify, you get special treatment. You know what I mean?
Right. What's that thing called? Marquee or something.
It's not even Marquee. Marquee is like an advertising service. But I mean, like if you're like Universal, you can be like, hey, Spotify, make an editorial playlist that sounds like this because we have artists that match that sound. And we want you to show it to people. And Spotify would be like, yes, because you're Universal. You know what I mean? But anyways, I'll bring it back to your point. My story around this is actually, so living in LA, a buddy of mine, they had a friend, so they do full-time music themselves, doing like lo-fi R&B, they called it. Their name's Cozy Boy. They're amazing artists. But they had a friend that actually got caught for doing a sample on Spotify. And they got sued for a lot of money. But the thing that was interesting is like, you know, it was the closest degree I've had to someone who actually got sued for sampling. They only sued them for how much the song made. They didn't sue them for everything they'd owned or like, you know, we want plus X amount of dollars. They were like, hey, look, we did the calculations. We know from touring, we know from this and that you probably made X amount of dollars off of our sample. We want it back. You know what I mean? And, you know, the case went through because they didn't clear the sample. But then afterwards, they were like, hey, look, so this song does make a lot of money. It would be cool if you could cut a little deal after. So, you know what I mean? Like, and all the exposure they got from it. So, like, it was honestly, like, net positive, I'd say, for them. Yeah. I mean, which is, like, still a horrible thing to go through. But
do you know what he sampled exactly? Because I always feel like there are certain things you shouldn't touch.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact sample, but I know it's like a rock band. It was like David Bowie level type.
Yeah,
band.
that's the thing. If you like, I feel
It
like
wasn't
there's
David
like
Bowie,
Marvin
but, you know.
Gaye's estate and fucking. I think maybe we've talked about this before, but it's like certain.
Mm-hmm.
There are like notable estates and legal people out there that like are on the prowl for that. But like then there's some people that are just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like kind of benefits us both, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's another question. Have you ever altered a song for like a Spotify version?
I haven't altered any of my existing songs, but now when I make a song and I'm like, you know what, it might be a little too long, but I'm grooving right now, I'll make the decision to make it shorter because I know it's kind of the best move to do. But I've never been like
a little radio edit or something like that, you know.
I haven't made any like edits or like alternate versions to a song. It's always been like, you know what I mean? Okay. But I will admit, like, you know, it's like if I feel like the song should be 4 minutes, I'll make it 4 minutes. But if I'm at like 3 minutes and I'm like, I could loop this one section for another minute, and I'm like, I don't, you know, I could press repeat.
And John, true. When you say Spotify, you just mean like a streaming services version.
Yeah, streaming. So a service that's not Bandcamp that you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah.
You know, tiptoe around as much. You know, yeah.
It's funny how Spotify is so huge that it's basically synonymous with that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like like I'm like just looking at the Spotify for Artists app, like it gives artists so many tools compared to like other like Apple Music for Artists. I don't think they even let you add a bio. They
won't even let me add a picture because of their stupid fucking rules.
I know. They accepted my old picture. They didn't accept my new picture because it didn't have a face, which is funny.
And that creeps me out too. I'm like, why do you need my face, huh? I'm a band. Shouldn't like a logo be fine?
Hey. Actually, Amazon Music for Artists is similarly lame, but one cool perk is that you can link your Twitch to it. So, like, people who use the Amazon Music for Artists app can get notified when you get live on Twitch.
That's actually kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. I see a small percentage of my Twitch streams, and people are like, oh, hey, thanks for using Amazon Music. All two of you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone who uses Amazon Music.
Nah.
It's just...
I mean, Apple Music has, like, you can see who Shazammed your track. That's about it.
Yeah.
I love Shazam. Shazam is certainly a lot better than whether the Google Auto, like, put the song up to the thing and just listen to it thing. I mean, it's just awful.
Remember SoundHound?
Oh, I used to use SoundHound because that was the only thing that was on Windows Phone for years.
Oh, man, Windows Phone, right? I'm talking to John Zobelli.
Yeah.
I mean, there was also, like, Midomi, and that was, like, on desktop, that was useful for, like, humming songs, and I found...
I remember that.
Yeah. It only worked once, but yeah. Anyways, not to get off topic here, but should we talk about the return of IRL?
Were we done?
I can still talk about other Spotify things.
Yeah, listen,
other tips I have. So I think I'm maybe in the unique position. I don't want to pretend like I'm an expert either, but I've gotten. So I guess I have 4 stories around it. But anyways, so nowadays what I'm doing, if you follow, like, you look up Spotify marketing courses. Kind of the idea is like social media ads is like for the most part to like get a lot of fans through there, and you run like a growth campaign. So the idea being that you want to get Spotify followers. Reason is because if you get followers on Spotify, they throw you in Release Radar, and Release Radar is kind of like the new music this Friday came out.
Right.
And the more followers you have, the more people you hit. So that when you drop a song on day one, Spotify's gonna be like, oh wow, this song got like a lot of streams on day one because you've done like a social media campaign over such a long period of time.
Right.
That like has grown your Spotify followers. Significantly. So that I do that. And then so what's funny too is lo-fi is slightly different and the way that you want to do more playlist based campaigns. But for Vaporwave, I've noticed that release campaigns work better. So whenever you drop a new song, album, or single, you run another social media campaign directly to that song to help influence the algorithm or Spotify's algorithm. So the idea being that on day one, I've noticed that if you can get like a future funk Vaporwave song about 120 streams a day for like the first 2 weeks, it'll throw you in more algorithms, and the more algorithm playlists you get thrown into, like Discover Weekly and stuff, I think it, says, hey, editorial person, you should listen to this song. It's doing well in the algorithms. And then bada boom, bada bing. And using that strategy, so I'm kind of like in an interesting boat because I started off my Vaporwave career, air quotes, in 2014. So I had like this, I guess, like a notable backlog of music, but I didn't ever upload to Spotify because back then it was like you had to be Jay-Z to go on Spotify.
Exactly.
And the samples, X, Y, and Z, and we could talk about sampling too. But So now that I've gotten that cleared out, I was like a fresh Spotify profile. So they were like, I didn't get added to a lot of the Vaporwave playlists early on because they were like, who is this guy? We don't know who he is. And like, he has like a few singles out, but like, and I think from doing these strategies, I've gotten like 3 songs like playlisted consistently, like even 3 in a row. My last album, I released some of the singles and then I dropped the album. That didn't get playlisted, but now I have new songs coming out. But the 3 singles I did before my album drop all like got playlisted.
Yeah,
from like doing the strategy.
I've gotten 3 that got stuck, 1 in Future Funk and 2 in Vaporwave, and they haven't left yet. And they're just still like.
So,
yeah.
More context. So, because of the lo-fi thing, what I've noticed is that pretty much Vaporwave and the Future Funk playlist started off as editorial only, meaning like it was hand curated by a person. But now they've turned into personalized playlists, meaning that now they just put your song in a pot of songs, and depending on your listening history, they'll serve you the Future Funk playlist based on that. So if I listen to like 3D Blast all the time, my Vaporwave playlist is going to be mostly 3D Blast songs. But if I listen to like disco all the time, it's going to be mostly disco. But even though they're both in that editorial playlist, algorithmically you figure out like, oh, you're a bigger fan of this person. Let me show more of their songs. So now if you like compare playlists with someone, you'll notice it'll be different.
I was talking to Frank the other day, and he showed me like the new playlist features. It was like you look up 3D Blast or anybody. I don't know why I'm using me, but it says like 3D Blast playlist. It's not like this is 3D Blast, nor is it a radio. It was literally like, I'm trying to think. You like look up the artist, and it says like mix, I think is the word they're using.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's see. 3D Blast on Spotify.
You said it's not like radio based on this artist.
It's not like that. It's different than. I go to 3D Blast and I hit playlist. It says 3D Blast mix, and I hit it, and it's almost like it's weird. I don't know. I don't quite know what it is, but
it sounds generated.
Yeah, I don't know why it's different than radio or whatever, but it's like. I don't know. It's the same thing. There's a lot of mesh on mine, which is funny. This is weird because I looked up mine a few days ago when Frank showed me, and it was all Fiber and Skylar Spence and me and stuff, and Dan. It was Frank, Dan, and Fiber and Skylar Spence. But now it's Equip, Young Bay, and Mesh and Frank.
I'm looking up a playlist, and this is a one made by Frank. 3D Blast sorted by decreasing danceability.
Son of a bitch! You fucking loser.
It's great. Oh, well, we start with Roulette Doulette. What's the last one? Sculpture Apocalypse.
Oh, that makes sense.
Third best is the lowest like new song.
But that's one of the most popular songs. So that's why I go back and forth with Frank and his danceability obsession, because I don't think like he's making pop the genre. It has nothing to do with the science danceability of the song. That's what I think, at least, because again, I think people like slow stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting how you can see Spotify's metrics for each song, like danceability, energy, loudness, valence, which means the positive mood for the song, acoustic popularity, and that all plays into what is it called, the echo nest?
I don't know, dude. Art sucks.
Lots of technical stuff going on the Spotify.
Echo Jams, Echo Droid,
Skynet, Echo
Jams, Echo Droid,
Echo Telepath,
Dolphin. I don't know.
The one thing about Spotify I notice is that I feel like if you had to choose just 2 like platforms to put your music on, it would probably be Spotify and Bandcamp, because Spotify gets your music heard. Bandcamp gets you paid.
I mean,
Spotify kind of does both for me.
I'm not gonna lie. Even with my minuscule, following on Spotify, I hate to admit it. I'm okay with like $300 a year. That's fine.
It's free
for Spotify.
in a way.
You just press upload, bam, boom.
The amount of effort that it takes to upload to Spotify versus what you'll get back is only a positive. And sometimes when I think we've talked about this in the DM. We went back and forth about this, Groovy, about just like the hate for it, and it's like, no, it is. I mean, I get that it changes the landscape a bit, but you can only use it as a positive. Like
I think some people expect that this will be their full-time job just off their own thing. and that there's no, I think it's like that everybody's going to be able to achieve that. And that wasn't the case back then. That certainly isn't the case now. You have a better chance now. You certainly have a lot better tools now to achieve that. If you're good and you're visible, then people will find you. But at the same time, you have better chances now than you did even 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even. So yeah. I don't particularly get the just the disdain. I was on TikTok one day and there's a video of these like artists who was like, oh, we're a band of 5 and we all only got like $5,000 from this album. And I'm like, first of all, I guess the other thing, like we're all like electronic based laptop musicians. We're all making our music on our computers with minimal hardware, outside of
minimal effort.
No. I mean, like if we really wanted to, we could make it without any hardware at all outside of the keyboard and mouse. We could make this on a fucking Chromebook, really, if we had the right software that we torrented somewhere. A lot of, I guess there's a lot of people out there who feel this way about Spotify, or people who just need to like get like things tweaked just right. Get a fucking USB mic. Go to the local pawn shop, pick up a cheap guitar. I don't know. Like, what's the problem here?
The barrier of entry is just getting. It's easier for everyone to make music. It's just getting easier and easier. Like people using Chromebooks isn't too far off. Like I know
maybe not actually Chromebook, but like
sure. But people have like started on like online DAWs, which blows my mind.
Yeah. I see a lot of posts, and I get annoyed sometimes when you see posts that are just like, what do I need to make Vaporwave? And I'm like,
computer.
How did you get here without first learning how to make music in general? Where I'm always like, I feel like there's always a weird kind of like, they skip a step where they'll be like, what do I need to make Vaporwave? And it's like, well, you need a DAW. And they're like, what's that? And you're like, it's music. Like, how do you make music first is the first step.
I'm guessing those people just came from like, oh, this music sounds cool. How do I make that kind of music?
But isn't the first step just like, how do you make music?
Well, here's the other thing. I think a lot of people see Vaporwave, or at least like classic Vaporwave stylings, where you just, slow style, add a reverb, and call it a day. They see that sort of stuff and see it as low, like a really like super low barrier of entry. Like, oh, I could just download this free piece of software, feed in a song, slow it down, maybe chop it up a little bit, bamboo.
Chop a little bit of bamboo.
But I think some people come into it thinking that like they're fans and they want to be a part of the scene, and like I hate to say it, like every Vaporwave fan also makes Vaporwave.
Yeah, the scene is so tight knit. It's so small.
It's just how it is, and because of how easy it can be. Granted, not all of it's good, but
of course,
that's going to be with any sort of genre. But I think we're like lucky in that sort of way that it is like that, and not like, I don't know. I feel like I'm taking the floor a lot here.
Oh no, you're literally the one who's making a career off of this.
Not enough 9/11 jokes in that story, dude.
You know what? Hey, I'm just trying to stay upright. Just trying to
listen. News.
Not fall over myself.
I'm gonna make a song called an album called News at 12, and it's gonna be fucked up.
It's just gonna be High Noon. It's just gonna sample McCree.
But I haven't changed his name though.
High Noon.
Yeah, I'm gonna make an album about it's the moments before Blizzard got a lawsuit, and it's just World of Warcraft music slowed down. It is moments before. Yeah, it's gonna be called Raid at 11.
Oh my god!
We have a Raid at 11, and then moments before. Groovy does not even get this.
No, I'm listening. I was reading the chat a little bit, but if you don't mind, actually, I saw Pacific Plaza said something. If I could respond to, and also I want to say hi to Enrail and Monica or Molo. But anyways, Pacific Plaza mentioned that people need to try to reach outside the scene more with tunes, otherwise we'll become an echo chamber. and I think or it will just become reissues and tributes. I think that's an interesting idea and kind of like adjacent to it. I think, we have a few people in the scene that like, maybe like our George Clans, and if you don't mind, John, and you as well, where like at this point your success is limited to how big Vaporwave itself is, because you're, at the, not the top, but the pie is, you know what I mean? So
True.
like at a certain point, like we as a community need to grow Vaporwave to grow artists. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a concept. Like I kind of learned this working at Google, which is weird to say, but like Google hit a point where they were making like so much money or just so successful. They were like, how do you get people to use Google more? It's like, oh, we just got to get them to search more things on the internet. Like they just we need to pose them with more questions to search about for us to get more people on Google. And then it became to the point where it's like, how do you get people to search more? It's like, how do you get more people on the internet in general? It's like, well, just there's levels of like, you hit a cap. Now you need to figure out like the bigger thing to like expand and keep expanding the bubble.
I actually wrote that down as one of the points just in case we couldn't hold the conversation. But it was something about sustainable market and just like, are you riding off the scene or does the scene ride off you? Like, are you growing the scene or are you only growing as big as the scene? If that makes sense.
One thing that's been beautiful, in my experience, is some people have like found Vaporwave through my music, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
Actually, one thing is too, I'm not gonna show it here, but someone got a tattoo of my stuff.
No way.
So stoked. Yeah.
I think
Their name is Mr. Joestar, I think, on Instagram. They're like the coolest person.
the guy from Anime.
But from finding me, they went and like, expanded more into Vaporwave and like got into future funk. And then from there went to like classic style and so on and so forth. So I think it's like every single one of us are like roots of the tree. You know what I mean?
There's somebody that
like
has said, but like on Twitter, just like Iconic Bitch was the first album they heard and is why they listen to Vaporwave. And then in turn is why they make music now. And I'm like,
yeah, it's trippy, right?
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Bizarre.
But yeah. But
John, bizarre. Fuck you.
It's
It
a fucking wonder.
really is a bizarre feel. Something you made for fun
Mhm.
was taken by someone as this sort of life-changing thing. And I mean, like, the same thing's happened to me, and I'm sure the same thing's happened to you on like the other end of that. You've watched something or listened to something or saw something and it inspired you. So I mean, hell, 3D Blast.
Yeah.
A video game inspired.
Well, I think about how I feel about like Hit Vibes and the album sitting in the other room and how amazing it was to get that and that what that album did for me and going like, you think that my thing is doing that to you? Like that's no way. And it's yeah.
It's a wonder I'm fucking here, man.
Shut up.
How would things be different if I was hanging with my proper crowd, the new disco?
Yeah, that liar fibber.
Fiber, Pat Pennington changed my life for better or for worse, baby.
Yeah. Sorry, let me try to read what. There's some paragraphs in the chat. If you want to continue.
Well, while you're reading, I can bring up another topic. Yeah. So so I guess that's kind of like what I've been doing for Spotify. It's been working out for me. Both like, again, every genre is gonna be different on Spotify, but I think the Vaporwave release campaign, the road campaigns are good. Also, you just want to do things like general organic marketing. So like posting on Reddit, if you're cool with that, or posting on Twitter.
Yep.
Just being a cool person in general, like
Mhm.
just if you're a nice person, just be nice to people. Like you have nothing to gain by having an ego. Like
That's
it's only
always
going to hurt you.
Is important.
And that's not the reason why I'm just
Exactly.
no one should
I
be
know what you
nice
mean.
just because but like be kind to people. Like just don't be, there's nothing to gain from being one of my like favorite things someone told me as like a code mentor is like being mean to people. It'll get you short-term results, but in the long term, everyone's gonna be like, I don't want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
So you're listening to his stuff. So you have nothing really to gain in the long term.
I mean,
But,
just like Google says, don't be evil, guys.
Yeah. Now what do they
Oh,
do?
like that one aged not well.
Oh, really? You think?
Yeah.
I feel like Discord is a great place to do exactly that. Just being nice to people, just joining Vaporwave communities.
We've talked. I feel like we've definitely talked about this before. Where it's
yeah, we have definitely touched upon this.
Just like it's like not going out of your way to network, but you should be taking part in the world. You shouldn't have an ulterior motive to like, I don't know, manipulate. You should look at it more of like, I don't know. It's really hard to say like network not aggressively and not disingenuously Or no, wait, hold on.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like
I feel like a lot of people join Discord servers only to post and self.
Yes, they do.
Which is one of my biggest pet peeves.
But it's like
Because
be a friend.
It just feels like you're just there to market yourself and do nothing for the community. Just market yourself.
Yeah, and to that point too, when I say get involved with the community as well, there's like two sides of that. One is like, you know, be nice again, and then I'll just one quick thing I'll throw out there: collaborations are really good. If like there's someone you admire, hit them up. Maybe they'll be open. If they're not, it's cool. You know, whatever it may be. But you know, if you have two different fan bases, you introduce one another to each other, you only have something to gain from it, and you get a new friend out of it. Like I'm friends with, you know, all types of cool people now, and like
sometimes,
yeah. But to your point, Disco, yeah, there is forms of like bad market, like definitely like bad networking, bad marketing, like the whole like follow me on Twitter because X, Y, and Z. And I think it's a lack of understanding like the fundamentals of marketing. Like, you know, for a good example is if someone follows you on Twitter, yeah, they'll see your stuff, but if they don't like it, they're not retweeting, whatever, it's gonna honestly hurt you because you're gonna have all these people that are seeing your stuff, and Twitter's like, well, you posted this thing because you forced this person to follow you. They saw it, didn't care, and kept scrolling. Then like you're only gonna hurt yourself algorithmically. Like you want to have people who genuinely care about your stuff. They follow you because of the stuff you post. And if people aren't into that, that's completely fine. You know, even if it's like your close friends. Like I have lots of close friends and I'm like, I don't want to hear about your diarrhea, dude. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Or what they're posting about.
You said had
But,
lots
like-
of close friends.
But
Oh,
you know,
you're
when I
about
see
your
them in
diarrhea,
person,
John.
I'm like, yo, man, like, what's up? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, yeah. So, like, you don't just spam your stuff in random places because, you know, it's not really going to help. But, you know, instead of like building conversation, posting things, doing collaborations, being a part of the community is going to make people naturally want to learn more about you and like listen to your stuff. But just like throwing it out there,
you have to listen
fight
to
against the wall.
other people. Unfortunately, you have to. You have to listen to other people because that's the one thing I think is like people. I think it like hurts like just in general, like the sound of the overall scene and just like being aware of everybody. I think, and that's like something I've definitely like slowed down on like recently, and it's something I want to like every now and then have like big upticks. I'm like, you know what? Let me go through all these people I've missed because like if you come in and you're just like, here's my stuff, and you're influenced by other people that you don't talk to, and then don't listen to anybody else, it's just not a good look. I think if you understand what everybody else is doing, you'll form better opinions on them, and like the connection will be definitely deeper. Understand what they're doing and what they're doing for the scene, I guess, and then you know that helps you
Just
connect.
keeping an ear out.
Yeah. And like you get
And
to
then-
make fun of it.
I hope you all don't mind me ranting. I'm just
No,
ranting
go.
on
That's
marketing
what we're doing.
cool.
Welcome
Another
hot
point is
takes.
that I thought was really cool is from the Tom Dupree third guy who's on YouTube. You can look him up. I was in one of his live streams, and personally, I don't like internet ads, so it's very ironic because just my whole life I was like, been on the internet my whole life. I know I don't like these things. Why am I now doing it? You know, but if you do it in the right place, it makes sense. Like if I were to advertise music on Google, it's bad. Besides, and anyways, getting back to the point, I asked him like, hey man, like, what about all those artists that make it organically? You know, they have a song blow up on TikTok or on YouTube or whatever, it goes viral. And it's like, I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it's kind of like not using paid marketing, whether it be advertising, whatever it may be, to like help your music grow is like bragging about being able to stand outside without a jacket. You know what I mean? Like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's nice. You can stand outside in the cold without a jacket, but you should just be like everyone else and wear a jacket, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you'd be surprised by how many numbers are just faked out there because they want that social proof, which is a whole nother topic. So like, if anyone making music out here, one thing that discouraged me from like doing more music was like, oh, I'm not Jay-Z, so like, what's the point? And like, you'd be surprised when people like Jay-Z will pay lots of money to get that, 40,000 follower number, even though like half of them don't ever even use Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be.
Here's one thing I'll say. I get demos sometimes from people who
I get
have
demos
either,
from Jay-Z.
I get those from Jay-Z, Kanye,
Drake,
John Zavelli,
Drake.
Jay-Z.
Baby
yeah.
Gino.
I almost put out what was the new Drake album? The one that
Lover Boy.
Fart
I'm not
Starter.
gonna. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go into that because it's awful.
It's hot.
But no, I've gotten like demos and seen artists who just fake follower counts, and it's so obvious. It really is so obvious. If you're posting stuff and you're not getting any if you have like 40,000 followers
Yep.
and you have 2 likes,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what it is,
No matter what mesh album you put
you know,
out.
it's obvious, and I think people just look at like these numbers and like maybe people like surface people look at those numbers, you know.
There
But
is.
you can see who likes the posts. Too.
I met somebody for the
The illusion
first time.
crumbles.
Someone who was like, I didn't know these people existed. It's somebody who had just bought a bunch of followers and stuff, and it was this kid trying to be like a SoundCloudy rapper guy, but of course he was not really good. He was like my cousin's friend, and it was really weird, the circumstances of meeting him. But then he found out I was a musician and was like, oh, and then started like bragging, and he was like, my song is like this many 3 million plays on SoundCloud. And then you go to his SoundCloud, he's got like 400 followers. You go to his Instagram, he's got like 18,000 followers but 0 likes on everything, and he posts a lot, and it's like, no, I know what you're doing, dude. Like, you're buying followers. And he actually brought it up, like, how do you feel about people buying followers? And I'm like, pretty scum. And he's like, yeah. And then I looked through all of his stuff, and I was like, oh, that's you. He said I got in trouble, I stole someone's beat and rapped over it, and then but SoundCloud told me I could be making $4,000 if I monetize. And I was like, well, then why didn't you, dude? And he's like, well, and it all excuse. And I was like, man, I've never met somebody who has wasted so much money on fake followers and didn't spend any time learning or doing anything. It was just crazy
I
to
just
see.
think it's funny. I think it's just fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's because I guess the other thing I kind of hate is a ton of the people who follow, hoping for a fallback.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then they have like 15,000 followers. I mean, 15. They're following 15,000 people on like some place or some, hoping to get maybe just a handful to follow back and then unfollow the whole list. It's just
Follow, baby.
I mean, in middle school, I did that on YouTube. but any like artist, musician worth their salt, aren't gonna do that.
It's very weird. The follow for follow thing is really weird. You see that on Twitch a lot. You see that on a lot of platforms, actually. Any organic growth based thing, when a lot of these same things that we've been talking about actually work a lot more, because it gives you people who care instead of people who don't care and just give you a number.
And that's how I feel about TikTok. I like TikTok. It's a great platform, but followers mean nothing on there. Because it's all y'all on the feed, the algorithm. If you're following 1,500 people on TikTok, which I see a ton of people following so many people on TikTok. I mean, chances of you actually seeing one of those videos, you have to scroll at least 1,500 times to see one of them.
Real quick, Enrail says, I follow everyone back. I don't know when to stop. You'll stop the second you realize that artists you friended 4 years ago on Facebook post something racist. And you'll go, I don't need to be friends with any of these people. Only the ones that matter. Like, only the people I like. Holy shit. This sucks. And then all of a sudden your feed is just like, wait, I don't care about any of these people. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
to be fair, that's Facebook, but that applies to any social
Twitter
media.
applies too, I think.
Pacific Plaza, I think, makes
Plaza
basically
is what I'm
the
talking
point.
about. He's the racist one. No.
Yeah, exactly. No. Hey, let's not be gaslighting our fans over here.
Fans.
No, but like when I look at like an artist and they're following hundreds of thousands of more followers than are people who are following them, that's a red flag for me. It's sort of like if it's like for me, I try to keep it like a healthy medium between the two. Like, I want my follow to be worth something. If I follow you on social media, I want you to know that I'm following you because I like your work and you're worth my follow. I don't follow people who aren't worth my follow. Okay, that sounds really bad. All I'm saying is, I want my follow to mean something. I really like your stuff. I'm gonna follow you.
Yeah, I think I agree too. There's like certain it's same with like I've had a lot of discussions about like people who ask you to retweet stuff, and like I don't like that, and people are like, I've actually had people like confront the opposite, where they go, why not? It takes you nothing. And I go, Well, yeah, I know what you mean, but then it like dilutes my actual like I guess taste. And I think at a certain point, if someone just retweets everything, I mean, like I think there are some people who care, who actually care. But like I think if it's like if you do it just because people ask you, or if you dilute your own taste for almost like attention from them, then I think it could get. I think a lot.
It doesn't feel like the person's running the account anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think, well, from what John was saying about like follower counts and things, I think it also gets into a nice segue into. You guys heard of the concept of passive versus active fans?
I mean, I could context clues my way through that.
Yeah. Well, the idea being for those who are watching, the idea of like a passive fan is someone who's like, oh yeah, like I like their music, I throw it on in the background, but like, would I ever buy a shirt or go to a show or anything? Probably not. Like, and that's a lot of like lo-fi hip hop. So, like a lot of it, like no one knows anyone in lo-fi unless you make lo-fi. Yeah, and there's like so on and so forth. But it gets a ton of streams because it's like, yeah, sure, I'll like go to sleep to this, and then your Spotify's running while you're sleeping because it's like the perfect music for that.
I think there's like I think there's a famous like it's either a book or like a speech or something where the guy's like, you only need 1,000 fans really to make it as an artist. And it's like, I mean, sure, 1,000 active, hyperactive, like ones who buy everything and will pay for. Okay, yeah, I get it, but it's very misleading, that sentence. You only need 1,000 fans to make it. It's like, well,
that sentence needs that like active adjective, or else it's just completely false. But yeah, and I think that's interesting about the Vaporwave scene, since we're talking about Vaporwave, is that it's a very active community. So like a lot of it is less Spotify because, you know, people listen to your stuff. People I care about Spotify the exact same. So it's about like, I think more about, you know, like an active community. And so to John's point of like getting a bunch of just random followers, it's not really working too well if you're in the Vaporwave community because, you know, people follow each other because they actively care about this artist. And if, you know, if you're just trying to get followers, it's not going to work in our scene in particular because a lot of people here are for engagement and like, we love this. So yeah.
It reminds me of like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. It reminds me of, think about like Twitch streamers, and I think about some of the rich people, like actually like successful rich ones, and you look at their viewer count, and I'm not talking about the ones who are getting 20,000, but there are people who are like big streamers and they're only getting 2,000, which I still consider high on Twitch. But if you think about it, a successful TV show is like millions of views, whereas a Twitch stream where this guy lives off of it is only like a couple thousand, sometimes less than 1,000 to be considered like full time. And it's like, I think that's like, those are active fans as opposed to, you know, it's better to have 100. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying this is true, but it's like better to say like I have 100 subs than 1,000 lurkers in a way. Yeah.
And that's another thing I've realized too with music as of recently is like there's two different types of like numbers in any creative work in the modern age, at least, is like, you know, like getting a million YouTube streams on like artsy music, let's say, is cool. But like if you can't turn that 1 million stream or 1 million views into like $1, then
this means nothing.
You know, but if you can make like, you know, 1,000 views turn into like $10 each, then it's like, oh, well, then, you know, and yeah. So, and yeah, I think it's just interesting.
It's good.
But yeah, I guess maybe one last thing I'll wrap up since I kind of said what I've been doing for Spotify and stuff for anyone out there who cares. The next thing I'm gonna try is more like an email based approach, which I know is like what
a mailing list.
Yeah, mailing list. And there's a funny so I guess after I did the Spotify thing that's been working out, I bought 2 more music marketing courses, one called Music Marketing Manifesto and another one called Indiepreneur. And if you were gonna buy any of them, I would say Indiepreneur. It's like it's kind of expensive at like $40 a month. It's you know, but it's honestly like the 2 other courses I mentioned combined into one mega course, and like it's maybe like 40 hours of just marketing videos, which is like whoa. But their kind of idea is like, and what's really trippy about Indiepreneur is that they have a buddy system type thing, and a lot of the concepts they have on there are like almost like cut and paste from some of the marketing books I read. So like the strategy is there, and that's another thing about marketing is that there's strategy and tactics. Tactics are things like social media advertising, posting on Reddit, whatever. But if you don't understand why you're doing that, it'll never work. You have to understand the fundamentals and then decide, oh, that tactic works well. You know what I mean? Like it's like being, if you know how to use, like, you know, if you are good gunsmen, you know how to use guns to say, and you pick up a sword, you know, okay, you can still do damage to someone, but like obviously it's not going to work as well if you did the thing you understood. So that was a horrible, violent example. But yeah, if you crit, then there you go. And sometimes you do, you know what? But you know that's not you can't make a sustainable living off of getting crits over and over, unless you're like a TikTok star. That's literally what you're good at.
You know what's funny? This is a side tangent, a real quick story. I had a friend, a DJ friend, who he didn't know his, like, I guess you consider like technicals and his fundamentals on the deck, so he couldn't really mix. But he was always like, I considered him having a high crit stat, where he was like a big personality.
Wow, gamer. What?
And I always pictured it where it was like he definitely played a lot more and like had regular gigs than I did. And I don't want to throw shade, but at the same time I kind of considered it like, oh, he's not really doing it right. But he had like a big crit stat where he would just be like, he was hype, he knew a lot of people, he, you know, was friends with the people, not, you know, cool guy, and it was just always like, yeah, he crit. He just crits over and over again, and he keeps getting those things.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
what
like
is crit. That?
Well, like I don't, like, you know, he's kind of getting lucky, but it's more of like when you listen to his mix, it's not like he's mixing right. Like he's dropping the mix kind of a lot, but like people won't care because he'll come back and be like a very big personality. People enjoy seeing him, but you know they don't actually care about the content, I guess. I don't know if this is making any sense.
It's
like,
and
if
actually,
your sword's weak, but you keep critting, it still does a lot of damage.
And so that's the point I'll get at. And there's another concept that I've watched from another YouTube person, but it's a general rule you can read in marketing books, but it's called the 80-20 rule. And it's kind of confusing, but 80% of your results will come from 20% of your work. So like you're going to try 100% of different things. But once you find that like 20% of things that work, you just press that button as many times to get the most results out of it. So like, you know, maybe for example, I'm gonna try this email thing. It might just completely flop, but you know what? I'm gonna keep trying different things until I find the one that works again, and then go from there. And to your point, your buddy, he probably 80% of his work is DJing, but that 20% of just going out there and being a nice person is what gets him the results. So, you know, it's like it's a weird just marketing law that like isn't actually a law, but you know, but go for it, John.
The email thing. I mean, I check my emails all the time.
Whoa, brag!
But how many? Yeah. Okay. You said you gotta.
I mean, yeah. You own a label. That's how you get submission. Other things.
Oh, I mean, I check my emails all the time, but I mean, I don't always. Besides the point.
Go on.
Do people actually check their emails that often? Do like maybe millennials do?
I think.
But do Zoomers check their email?
I think some of us do because we have to for the medium that we're in, and we're involved in communication via email. But I'm trying to think of like a regular guy checks their email looking for.
So,
I always have my email tabs open.
To this point, I 100,000% agree with you, John. So when I started reading marketing books that were like use email, I was like, I'm just gonna burn the book. This is obviously lying to me. I wasted $20. But if you look into the numbers and watch, like, so even just in a different industry, I watch a lot of GDC talks just because I find game development very
nice.
And there is a person who has multiple talks in there that talks about game marketing. And he said consistently, and it has been this way for all of e-commerce since e-commerce has existed, email has always been the number one way to like, And he's like, and he even has a great case study of him working with a studio where they had a very active Discord server, and they were like, hey, we're dropping this new DLC. It's going to cost like $5. And everyone on the Discord server put like 1,000 emojis on it. He sent an email saying the exact same thing, worded correctly per his marketing stuff. And the email beat out Discord in terms of like revenue generated.
Yeah.
And that's like wild because, you know.
I can understand that because every once in a while I'll send out like a Bandcamp email built-in thing to their app. And I always assume they're coming from the app. Because you get a notification on your phone.
Yeah,
if you're following them, but you also get an email. I don't know how many are coming from the email versus are coming from the app. I'm assuming they're coming from the app because I assume more people have notifications on for apps on their phone than have email notifications on their
I
phone.
don't know. I don't know
Well,
if that's true. I don't know if I agree.
Because how many people will turn off their email because they get so many emails, versus how many people will turn off Bandcamp because they get so many Bandcamp things. Unless it's Bandcamp Friday, in which case then they might turn it off.
I'm wondering, yeah, because I have both on.
I'm just
I
thinking,
have both. I check my email all the time. I don't know if people are like me or if I'm just crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Literally,
So,
I wish like,
out of us two,
Go
I
ahead.
will say I check my email very regularly, but I'm also a programmer. So like
That's-
I'm just
yeah.
very technically linked in. Like I got the IV to USB built into my body. Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
Ooh.
you just take a look at it. It makes total sense. I feel like email is underutilized, especially in the social media age. I feel like people tend to overlook it because it can be seen as antiquated technology. But here's the thing. It's a good way to reach a lot of people, like you said, with the Discord thing, because people are more likely to have an email than any social media account. And if they have a phone, they're more likely to get notifications from email than have notifications on for a particular person or, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, like if you like going back to the mailing list thing, if you have a Bandcamp, more likely than not, you already have a mailing list built in.
Mhm.
And you can use the community feature to, you know, just type out messages to your Bandcamp. And that's kind of your mailing list right there. Were you thinking of like using MailChimp or something? Or
So if you know the entrepreneur thing, they kind of recommend using Mailchimp, and I will admit I haven't tried any of this. So this is hypothetical land we're in right now because I haven't tried it out myself yet. Spotify stuff I can prove to some degree, but so yeah, the idea would be using a Mailchimp or something, and yeah, so that answers your question.
What exactly are you doing? Like with just getting a mailing? Is that it? All it is just a mailing list in general?
Yeah. So here's kind of the idea would go. So if you look in more marketing stuff, and I guess let me take a quick another step back. And at the end of the day, kind of like with music and stuff, we're kind of all small businesses,
Right.
even though it's around music. So anything that works for a small business kind of works for us. And the idea here is called direct response marketing. So it's you did something directly and you can analyze the response that came out of it. And that's how you can kind of do that. Once you hit like Coca-Cola, then you do things like that spammy, like whatever. But Coca-Cola has $1 billion to make sure you think about Coca-Cola every single second of the day. That's why it works for them. And you spamming your music doesn't work because you just don't have $1 million in marketing.
I mean, it's why I don't even bother releasing anything after, you know, like the first week in December, because you can't compete with anything, you know.
But in the continue on Randy's point of like where the mailing list fits in. So the idea is like kind of with like, can you ask it one more time? I'm sorry, I forgot. Just so I'm responding to the right thing.
I was just wondering. I was just making sure. I was like, is it just you're emailing people updates, or like what exactly you're just emailing them?
Oh, it's kind of like a mix of things. So it's like so when you like kind of like find someone on Spotify, let's say, you're like at that point, like, you know, they kind of have, you know, again, that going back to like the whole entrepreneur, but also just marketing fundamentals. When you first get introduced to someone, you're kind of like learning about them, whatever it may be. But essentially, you kind of want to like hold someone's hand of like, hey, you obviously like my stuff. You either bought my thing on Bandcamp, you listen to me on Spotify, you care about me at least some degree. So you get them, you know, you go from there. You could even like retarget from Spotify, you know, doing funny stuff. But you can like be like, hey, look, you know, obviously you like my music, join my mailing list. You try it out. If you don't like it, always unsubscribe. Cool, you join it, right? And then you can send them stuff like, hey, look, this is like my day-to-day stuff. I know it sounds kind of like cheesy, but like behind the scenes type stuff. Stuff like that. I don't know about y'all, but I do have some artists, like I genuinely like, to name one of them, Mind Design. If they send me an email, I'm going to read it because I like everything they put out is like, to me, amazing. So when they show off, like, you know, they're talking about their music process or something like that, I'll watch it. And then by developing, essentially you're building a relationship, and that's just like most of life. You're building relationships with other people. You start, you know, sending them out stuff like, hey, here's who I am. This is how I make my music. Thank you for supporting. And every once in a while, you're like, my new album dropped. You've obviously been keeping up my podcast and like whatever it may be. You like the stuff, kind of like how you would a Patreon subscription on someone on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, look, if you like it, buy it. If you don't, you know, it's all good. You know what I mean? And just whatever it may be.
Right.
And that's kind of like, it's really just, you know, keeping a relationship, you know, with a friend almost. Like, you know, you want to like, you know, those friends you lost contact with, if you don't like keep up with them and like check in, eventually they're going to like go off and move to like, I don't know, Norway and have kids or something. But if you keep up with them on like a monthly basis, or even honestly, monthly is kind of like low according to Indiepreneur, but you know, Just sending out emails to like do a health check. Like, hey, look, you still like my stuff? Like, here's some stuff, man. Like, here's other little things about my music that you might be interested in.
Yeah,
and going on from there.
You could also do like exclusive mailing list stuff, like goodies.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So a concept that I really like that, to your point, Indiepreneur really put out is that's kind of like a goodwill vault. Like if you were friends with someone and they just, you kept saying, hey, give me $5, friend. Hey, give me $5, friend. Hey, give me, they're going to be like, dude, you just leech my money from me. You're an asshole. But if you do things like, okay, here's an email. Dude, here's an exclusive song because you're a part of my mailing list. Oh, dope. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yo, man, I got this little like podcast thing. I'm going to tell you about how to do music if you make music. Oh, dude, thank you. Oh, and oh, hey, you know what? Dude, I'm going to send you a free keychain. Fuck it, because I know you bought something in the past. Oh, cool. Thank you. So on that 4th or 5th or 6th email, you're like, I'm going to give you a lot of free stuff, dog. You're kind of cool.
Exactly.
I help you're in a relationship here. And of course, you don't pitch it that way. Obviously, we're trying to just both benefit from one another. Then, it kind of works out. And I know, I hope I don't sound like very like, oh, marketing.
No, the thing is, it only gets like that if the product is bad, right? If the product is either predatory or you're taking advantage of someone, it's almost like, if you were selling gambling, like, oh, we're going to give you free stuff. By the way, gamble, or, it's like, okay, or by the way, we're giving you a lot of free posters, but now buy my cigarette, like bad stuff. Then it's like predatory and abusive. But if you're just kind of like, I like to make music, and you like that I make music. And of course, it's always optional, too. It's not like you force anyone to, buy an album.
Yeah. And what I love to that same point of like, kind of like you find value whatever I'm doing. That's what I love about Patreon the most. I don't use Patreon. I don't love Patreon, the company, but just the idea that like Patreon proved that if you like something and people have the money, they'll gladly give it to you if you make it easy for them. You know what I mean? And because they really gain value out of it, whether it be like an hour a night from listening to music or an hour from watching your YouTube channel, or some people go through like traumatic life events where whatever you created helped them through that. Like they're more than happy to throw you a few dollars. You know what I mean? And it's not like they owe you anything, but just like if they have the resources, they're like, yeah, sure, why not? And just making that as easy as possible is what's gonna, I think leads to the eventual kind of topic of the show of going full time. Which personally, again, I'll say I'm not yet. I don't plan on it in the very near future, but I just want to unlock the key for other artists in the vaporwave scene, because that way we can grow together as a community.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I can personally, I don't have a Patreon, but I do have some form of the kind of the same thing. Like I have Twitch subscribers, and I like to incentivize them to join the Discoholics anonymous community by saying, hey, you subscribe to me on Twitch. Not only do you get all these, Twitch benefits, ad-free viewing, sub-only mode, this and that. If you join the Discord and you link your Twitch, you also get, free access to older VODs that have been removed by Twitch because they're too old. So access to all the previous streams, exclusive tracks every once in a while, exclusive, free lounge to interact with your fellow Twitchaholics on, access to DJ sets with like track lists. So yeah, I think just having the idea of just like being close with your fans, being in whatever, like a mailing list or a Discord, I think is a real good way.
I think another funny thing that I don't even think we've mentioned after discussing, this is how you do this, and this, send emails and all this stuff. It's like, do we even mention that you should be making stuff?
That's the whole reason why I'd love to do like a Bandcamp subscription thing for Christ or some Father, whatever. But to be completely honest, I put out stuff once or twice a year, and I like it like that. And sometimes I'll have scraps and I'll put them out at a later date when I feel like it's been too long between one release and another. So, I mean, I don't know. If you're not making something that's worth, I mean, they even you wouldn't buy, even if it was like 50 cents, then it's probably not a good idea. unless you have a really devout following, and they'll just George Clan fan club. Dude, I mean, actually, he's got a lot of perks. Now I think about it, but $15 a month, that's a lot.
George Clanton.
Well, I mean, DDS. I mean, the Shroudies.
You get a tape with that though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff. You got an album every month, right?
For now, yeah, it sounds like that. I don't know how long they're going to keep up with that.
They should release CDs.
They are.
CDs nuts, John.
Oh, okay. I'll show myself out.
All right, so
But to that point, and now that we've, I guess, kind of like I got to, or not even, but we as a community got to feel our like little business and marketing type stuff, which I appreciate y'all letting me do because I've been thinking about it for like the past 3 months while I work all day. I just watch.
I appreciate you
videos
being
about
on here.
Yeah,
I don't
dude.
think
Yeah.
you're
oh,
not.
no, shit. Let your nuts hang, King, man.
I still got plenty of time, by the way. But the thing I think it would be cool and kind of funny to juxtapose all this is that I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I think, to my understanding, of the early Vaporwave days, Vaporwave has kind of been this commentary on hyper-capitalism from the 80s when everything was doing so good. They were just producing all this marketing content that was actually good, but once they were done making money from it, from ad fatigue, they just threw it away. And we were here to like nostalgify it and bring it back and like say, that thing was cool. Why did you do that? What do you think of the irony now that like people are making a, kind of like capitalism off of Vaporwave, even though it's a commentary on hyper-capitalism itself, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's what are y'all's thoughts about it?
It's certainly
Inevitable.
ironic, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I think I see a lot of people on Twitter who kind of complain and take like a holier than thou stance about like, yeah, I'll make music for myself or whatever. But then like, I never believe that stuff. I'm like, you're posting it online so you want someone to listen. So I don't care who you are. I honestly don't believe anybody that people make music strictly for themselves. I mean, like they do, like maybe I make music that I like, but like you want people to listen. I think everyone would be like, oh, I'm making money on it. Cool. Like, don't believe people if they're like above it. If they say they're above it, it usually means they're not making anything on it right now. And they're like, ooh. So, in terms of the concept of Vaporwave versus all this, again, it's all like irony and like things that didn't exist and all this like fake utopia. So it's like, I don't know.
I feel strongly about the idea that most Vaporwave was all a comment on consumerist capitalism culture thing. To be completely honest, I think that was just music reviewers at the time trying to put a smart spin on Vaporwave to sell it to hipsters who are trying to, the chill wave crowd and the C-punk crowd, the Tumblr crowd, and it was never really about any of that. It was all about nostalgia and having fun and being stupid and silly.
Yeah.
You see that in artists like, Victroid, who, as she's clearly, a genius producer. She's got a lot of talent. But here's the thing. I don't think she ever really was making this really heartfelt there's a lot of sarcasm. There's a lot of, beating around the bush with that sort of stuff. I'm not saying there is no concept in her work. I doubt there's much in Macintosh plus, Floral Shop. Yeah. But herself, like it was a fucking joke. And the thing is, like, people were just trying to add this really deep philosophical thing. And the thing is, Vaporwave can be deep philosophical.
It can be a deep dark trench.
Exactly. You could have an album that's got a really, in-depth story. But then most of the albums just didn't. And especially early on. It was just fun. It was cool. It was internet, dude.
Yeah.
It was the mentality of the early 2010s,
I think what brings people into Vaporwave is less of like, oh, the criticism of capitalism, more of just nostalgia and like, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I agree. 100%.
And you can make money off that.
And the thing is, like, people, complaining. I'll say this. Sometimes I will complain when, like, I see a label selling a cassette tape for like $16, $18, $20 for a single tape with like, maybe 40 minutes, half an hour of music on it. I'm just like, dude, come on. I know how much that if you're buying enough of those, they cost less than like $4 a pop. You know, I recently had to up my price on them this year or this past year because it was $8 for 7.5 years.
Inflation.
And so, I mean, hey, I might as well make an extra dollar because I shipping also went up. Like, oh god, I'm not gonna get into shipping because that's been hell this year. We've had the second rise this year. We just went in like last month. So I'm just mad about that. But yeah, it's just I think people thinking that this is like making money in vaporwave is this horrible against its like laurels sort of thing. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Dude, fuck off. You take your fucking capitalistic is, the worst thing ever out the door with your stupid concept on like, this consumer culture bullshit. Fuck off.
I think his nuts hang right now. There he goes.
I'm sorry.
That's funny.
Any thoughts? I don't think you said anything during this.
Me?
Yeah, you're disco,
Kagana?
right? Ball head.
Yeah, dude. Ooh, fushigi.
Oh, dude, I love
Is it magic? Nose. What do I think about what?
about making money off of it,
These
right?
nuts.
About these
Cool.
damn it, he hit you with the nuts.
That was an invitation for you to do that.
Nuts.
I mean, yeah, I like it.
I think the only way
And
you
like-
can make more art is if it's getting more time, and I think making money off of art in turn gives you time to do that art. And so
Yep.
I mean, if anyone has they're anti making money off of it, it is kind of weird. I'm like, well, shit, I'd put effort into this. Fuck it, I would love to do this more.
Right. And
People make you feel bad for wanting, like, they're like, oh, you just want you just want to be the easy way out. You just want to be famous narcissist. I'm like, I mean, kinda, like, fuck it. It sounds cool.
Here's an example. DDS puts out albums for the past like 10 years, right? Or not, well, like 6 years, And this past year, people were complaining because they did the fan club thing.
Yeah, I know that.
And
was a
they
big
made
thing.
these mixtapes exclusive, at least physically exclusive to that. I'm sure if you went on YouTube, someone from the fan club's going to upload them to YouTube the next day. So it's not like you're missing out on the music. You just don't get the option to get the tape firsthand.
and their Discord.
Yeah, and the Discord. And I feel like they've earned that right to ask that much after putting out content, some of the most highly rated content from the scene.
The only time they don't earn the right is if nobody pays for it, and people pay for it, so they've earned it. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's not like there's not a market. There is, and it exists.
And you got to make some money to be able to make more content, right?
Right.
I mean, to be completely honest, I'm pretty sure all three of them. Well, I don't think James Tech and Keith had day job. I think he was just doing Orange Milk and stuff like that, and his artwork.
His little
Stuff.
His little drawings.
His little drawings,
His
yes.
little
No.
doodles, so cute.
Okay, that just feels sick saying that. Ugh.
Oh, you still do that little? You still do those little drawings?
Oh,
Keith is a good drawer.
yeah, Keith's very talented for his age.
My son, I don't know if I told you about my son Keith, but he makes these awesome
little drawings. You still do that little music thing? Because I have a grad party that I need someone to DJ at.
Oh my god!
Hey, I've got a blank spot on my fridge. Here we go. Look at a magnet.
I got a wedding. If you want to DJ that.
I mean, I want to tell a story real quick, and I hope this doesn't get back to the people that I'm telling it about. But I know someone like locally that's like like in the DJ world in Detroit, and they know me, and we're kind of like, we have been around. I've played a few things, and some like older like school reunion was happening for a local high school here, and someone was like, old lady was like, we need a tent and a DJ. And then this person tagged me and was like, any way you could help? I'm like, what do you think I do? I was like, I don't DJ grad parties and high school dances. What are you talking about? Like,
what's the paycheck like?
that's what everyone
Just play the
says. And
Sasha
everyone always says that. Well, if it's paid, I'm like, well, then you go do it.
I also ask, what if it was like $3,000 to go DJ grad party?
$3,000 is a lot of money. That's true.
$4,000.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
5.
You've trolled it. Lux is right. That's the thing. I see those
$10
events.
million.
Those events tear me up because I'm just like, you don't. I always feel like it's weird because there are people out there that can actually deliver. Like they can host events. They can deliver like not in a negative way, but they can deliver like lowest common denominator music, and they know how to read crowds, and they know who the age groups and what to play, and they know that stuff. I used to work with one of them, and like he used to make tons of money doing it, but it's totally different from like I DJ electronic music.
Not all DJs.
Exactly.
A wedding. Go ahead.
I keep getting this same person has recommended me, and I've always been like, why do you think that I'm this guy? It's very weird. I don't know.
I was at a wedding the other week, and the fucking DJ was quite literally the worst DJ I think I've ever heard in person. He ruined the cha-cha slide.
How do you do that?
First of all, he added on his little mixing board, he had like a bunch of like little buttons, for different sounds, like a clav, a beat, a bop, or whatever.
A beat, a bop. Jesus,
I don't know. But he had this kick, and he kept going like a cha-cha real smooth. He just went like, and I'm just like, what? He just kept kicking pressing the kick button, and then when he was transitioning the song to like, what was the one after that? What's the other like wedding dance song from the 90s?
Cupid Shuffle? No, that's 2007. Macarena.
No, it's okay, late 80s, early 90s. Shuffle. No.
Hustle.
Electric Slide.
Electric Slide. That's what it was. Okay. The song was Electric Slide after that, and he tried to do like a wiki sort of like spin out of it, but it was like way too loud. It was just like awful. It was fucking awful.
Yeah, they divorced on the dance floor.
The bride was not. One thing is like this was a last minute change because the other person was like had COVID or something, so they couldn't come. So there's the last person change, and man, she was just happy to have a DJ at that point, even if he was fucking awful.
Dude, you should have taken over.
No, I would have been. I would have been worse, dude. But I wouldn't have gone like.
Dude, you should have DJ'd that. Have like 3 people record, upload the widest ever DJ set to YouTube.
Anyways, we didn't even talk about IRL.
I was going to bring that up too. Yeah. Speaking of DJing, what's going on with IRL? What you want to know?
We got to ask you that question. So IRL have, like I said, I feel like we're in a pocket of people can have done IRL shows in the last few months. I don't know. I hopefully it doesn't go away, but I already see venues are putting back restrictions. They're putting either back masks and obviously the whole like vaccine passport. That's coming, and it worries me that it'll eventually just get to and we're closed again. But we've been in this little pocket, and recently there was you just played a show live just a few weeks ago or a week ago or. It was
about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Pacific Plaza, all the homies. Yeah, Enro played. So did Sev. DS Dude did DJing as well. And Trucks Passing Trucks, Pacific Plaza was there. Abel did. So Abel, I call him Abel, but All Hell Breaks Loose visuals.
Yeah, he was recording the whole thing and streaming it on Twitch.
Yeah, and then Earthboy opened. Earthboy Advance opened, or he played a set in the beginning, but he was the first one.
I see. I actually have like.
Hey, thanks for playing the Draw the Line remix, by the way.
I can just go into like my thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead if you got stuff already off the top.
So TLDR, or not TLDR, but pretty much showed up. It was dope. We set up. This is all from my experience. We showed up, and then people started rolling up. to your point of like COVID stuff, honestly, I was like very like, oh man, you know what? We'll see what happens. But thank everyone showed up with a mask because the show was mask required. There was one person that didn't show up with a mask, and I was like, yo, dog, you don't got a mask. Like, what you gonna do about that? And he was like, oh, you need a mask? And I was like, I got some in my car. Are you down to have one? He was like, yeah, of course. I gave him a mask. And that was the only person to show up without a mask. Everyone else was cool. No one was like tripping about it. Everyone was I mean, to my knowledge, everyone was safe. And to my knowledge, no one got sick. So COVID stuff went better than expected. Honestly, I was really grateful for that. But otherwise, like a bunch of cool people showed up. Like Frank showed up.
Yep.
Mola was there. Enmer was in town. They were both chilling at my place. So was Sev. And then what else happened? So yeah, I had my little brother do my merch for me. That was pretty fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I saw Molo was streaming the whole thing as well, like
Yeah.
a first person kind of thing, which is really cool.
Yeah. And then so I guess also what was trippy too is that pretty much we all been releasing music during quarantine. So now you can in real life play it and see people respond to it other than just like Twitter comments of like, that was fire.
Did you feel like an energy of just like, oh my fucking god, finally like a release from like a crowd?
So because I'm like, I mean, all of us have, but I don't know, me, I'm weird in this way maybe, but I'm such an online person that like IRL is only like 10% more in real life. So when I was playing those shows URL, I was like, this is dope. I'm in my little closet. Just boom, 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 boom. So in person was just the same thing, honestly. Just now was a crowd of people.
Did the crowd seem more appreciative?
Yeah, so like there's like a few moments. Like I remember, so there was a buddy that showed up. The name is Sarah and Jeremy. I think Jeremy's watching maybe, but when I played one of my songs, Jensen and Hunging, you know, the kind of the chorus was going on, and I looked out and I saw them singing it. I was like, oh, my heart melted. You know what I mean? Like, not just me likes this music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
And I also want to shout out Andy. They well, also, you know, it's just trippy too that like doing vaporwave and music, you really put, at least myself, even if I unintentionally do, I put myself in it. So like I met, you know, this first name Andy, fan / friend now. And they're also a computer science person. They drove up from San Diego. I think they said they drove to San Diego, and they're like, I also program. And like, I thought that was so trippy when I went to your Twitter and you're like, I'm also a programmer. And it's like, you attract the same people. So it's like instant, like, dude, you're cool. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
But also like, you know, we have common ground to talk about. We have like similar music tastes. But a trippy moment there too is that they showed up with the backpack and they were like, yo, Groovy, can you sign my Still Groovy? And I was like, yo, yes, I could definitely do that. But it's just like the idea, I don't know. I just remember being that on the other end of that, of like going to a show, I'm like, yo, can you sign my vinyl? And they're like super cool about it. And to be on the other end is just like, whoa, you know what I mean? So
yeah, the only other kind of comp sci, you know, coding person I know in the scene is
Nano.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And Vapor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, they also write code. And then there's someone else who does someone else, I forgot.
Groovy God. No, Kaiju. I'm sorry. Not Groovy Godzilla.
Same difference.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, for me, live performances add a whole nother dimension for me. Because it's just because I love URL shows as much as the next person, but like even just listening to a set in your headphones, or maybe if you have a speaker system in your house, just hearing it live on like a club sound system, everyone around you is dancing, the lights, the fogs, the DJ's in front of you, the person making music is right there in front of you, and you can touch them.
Yeah.
So much dimension.
But you can. Don't touch me.
Your skin. You're real.
Your skin. It's mine.
Yeah, when I was going to Teach Show, it was just, I was like, I had that moment of release. I was like, damn, I miss this shit, man. Oh man, just breaking out on the dance floor. Woo!
Man, you guys all party people. I'm over here I'm sitting down in the back of the bar, you know.
Yeah,
I was.
So
that's valid.
If I may though, one thing that's maybe just a little jaded for me is so I've been making Vaporwave not for like ever, but you know, like since 2014, and there was a point in which, you know, IRL Vaporwave didn't work and it didn't exist. I played lots of open mics. Yeah, I played lots of open mics that just no one showed up, and I've even gotten like some really bad experiences of promoters being like, "Oh, we'll give you a set," and then you show up and you're playing during sound check. It's like
Yeah.
most disrespectful thing that could happen to a person that makes music. So now when I play live, I'm like, "Oh wow, people actually care. This is dope." So I'm like, maybe it's because I haven't had the chance to like, oh wow, because I've had bad experiences in the past. But now that I'm playing more IRL shows and they're all going really well, hopefully I'll get to that point. But I don't know. I don't mean to be a bummer, but man, life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we get you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been super trippy. And also just the idea that like, you connect with people over Twitter, just through the Vaporwave scene, and to see them in person is like,
Yes.
I always get jealous because I mean I went off on Twitter the other, not off, but like me and traveling aren't like the best thing because travel's expensive and I also kind of hate it. So like some people are more adventurous and like want to spend their time going out, and like I do get jealous. I'm just like, man, if only I was like into this, because I would go. But I wrote it down. I was like, is it even worth it to bring this up on the show? The whole like,
No.
Did you say no or you don't know?
No, I'm saying no. Go ahead.
Oh, but I was talking about like, making sure like if you play a show, it sucks because we are still so small that like I understand that like the pull maybe isn't like a big artist level and the money isn't like super huge, and if you play shows a lot of times free shows or very small payment just for the passion of the either just the event you like or you want to play live or it's fun to have fans, but then like getting people out of state to come travel and do it, it's like just to me sometimes I feel like people feel pressured that they have to go play live and like kind of waste their money.
Right.
I mean, if it's not wasting it if they're like, oh shit, I want to go do this and hang out. But like, if it's like a vacation, that's cool. But we were talking about this because of T-Chill and being like, oh, you got to come play. And I'm like, I would if there's any, like, I don't want to come out on the negative of a gig.
Right. No, if you can if it's worth it for you,
right,
then I would recommend it.
The only reason I bring it up so much is because I feel like I've said it out loud. People go, "What? You should, what?" I'm like, it's not about the money, man. And I go, "Oh, I mean, it's not."
I'll say this. I definitely did not come in on the green on Econ 1 or 2. Then again, why wouldn't I go to that?
Yeah, I was gonna go anyways. There are exceptions. There are big exceptions. And another thing we could talk about the whole like marketing thing is like the value that exposure is real, and being paid in exposure is actually good sometimes. I don't know if that's a hot take, but some people hate exposure. I'm just like, I don't know. It kind of seems like you need it.
It depends.
Yeah, for sure. Don't get abused, but at the same time, it's like if you got nothing, you got nothing to lose. So why not like submit to that thing or whatever?
Yeah, I think it goes back into the, I guess, my bad. You want to say what you got to say first, John?
Just say, it sucks that some people don't know when they're being scammed, really.
Yeah.
I like to think most of us are pretty perceptive of that, but there's definitely some people out there who just, like, they just cannot tell,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know what I'm worth. I may not charge for some things as much as I probably should, but I do that only because I'm still relatively small fries. Also, I'm not really in it for the money,
No.
Part of me, if I had to ask for a little bit more on Econ 2 because just of how I had to buy a plane ticket, they weren't buying me that. So the one way I could take care of that, I'd take a bus home. I'll stay at my parents' house and then I'll train to New York, but LA, I gotta, fly out. But it's just like, I don't know. I get it, I get it. Sorry.
Yeah. So to John's point, I'll say now one other thing DS Dude showed me is there's a person named Ben Jordan. They're like a famous musician from Detroit, I think actually. But what's it called? They have a video called like Top Scams in the Music Industry. Highly recommended as anyone here who makes music, runs a label, or just is a music fan interested in how the industry works. But yeah, so definitely watch that. Things like pay to play, like we're
Yeah.
going to give you pay us $250, we give you this many, so on and so forth. Don't do that. And just be aware because people will definitely take advantage of you if they
That's
can.
kind of how I feel about like gigs that necessarily don't come out on the, like if I come out in the red, it's like I'm paying to play, but not even to the club. It's just to the airlines or to hotels or whatever.
I think sometimes you have to weigh the aspect of making money on a actual show versus the other things you could do with that opportunity and the reason to go on that trip.
Well, yeah,
because
but
I mean, like I spent a couple extra days in LA. I wasn't even really going to econ for econ. I was going there for the networking.
On vacation.
Yes,
exactly. So for me, it was worth that because
insane. And I went, then didn't make profit off that.
As someone who's
but it's a night we keep talking about, so
I don't
it was
think we've done a single episode. Fuck it.
It's clearly
we
worth
should do
it.
an episode that's just called "We're Not Talking About Econ."
See, it's a 1-minute episode.
You know what?
That'd be funny.
What?
How long can we last without talking about Electronicon? Our faces are all red. We're sitting there with we're bracing.
I don't think we're ever going to stop talking about it until we can actually do it again. Because the fact of the matter is, it happened and the entire world shut down for 2 years.
You know what? You know what? April 1st, 2020 is? I mean, 2022 is?
It's on 420.
April Fool's Day.
You know what day of the week it is?
Monday.
No.
Wait.
Tuesday.
Which day? Which day?
Fun day? I don't know. That's bad.
Well, what's today? What, for a Friday?
It's Saturday.
It would appear to be so.
So
don't cut this dead air. I'm trying to think if there's anything. We kind of got off the whole IRL being back in a way. I started crying about.
No.
The
last thing I was gonna say about it is in terms of to your original point of when it's worth for exposure, I think it definitely depends on the thing because something like Econ definitely was an event in which people continue to talk about. There's a remarkability element to it. It's worth making a remark about. Therefore, coming a little red on Econ, for example, isn't a terrible thing.
Yeah,
because you're always gonna be on that lineup for the rest of your life. Or as so much as they suck, or I guess as much as they're meh to me, those end of the year Vaporwave lists, best of this year. People are going to talk about. That's where people find Vaporwave.
People
so
still, I think,
being on that.
I always actually put effort into getting on those lists because a lot of people are just they don't matter, and I go, I don't know if I get people to vote.
They gotta be rigged.
They're rigged because they're just they're rigged because they post on Reddit and then just the Reddit people vote on it. It's just very insular. But what happens if you just tell your friends, hey, just go vote for my album, and it ends up on that list? I've ended up on literally every time I release an album, it's on that list, and every time people are like, how do I get into Vaporwave? They go oh, I'll look at the best of that year. And I'm not saying I cheated, but it's just that has always gotten back that I'm on the list,
hey, you
and then
exploit,
it comes back. And
yeah. And then to that point, there's also bad forms of exposure. For example, in the lo-fi scene, being on a Spotify playlist, you'll get a bunch of streams, but no one, again, they just want to sleep to it. They just want to throw it on the background. So being on the playlist, unless someone actually your song is just so much of a lo-fi banger, they're I'm gonna like this.
Save this. Yeah.
For the most part, you don't get any active fans from that. So it's you get streams, sure, you get your $1 a month from it, but it's it's not really worth it. And if you paid to get on that playlist, then it's well, that sucks. You know what I mean? Because now you're not actually getting any actual long-term engagement out of it. So
maybe I'm coming from a different aspect of it, but I guess I never really got the appeal of appealing to a playlist as far as, sure, there's money to be made there. If you're on a popular playlist and you're high enough on the list that you get constant plays, you gotta do well. But at the same time, I'm just like you said, unless it's really a banger, really something that this person really likes a lot, they're not going to go any deeper than that, and so it's just going to be stuck to that one song. It's going to be stuck to that one playlist. It's not going to really go out of that.
It can be really bad when you get and it happened to me, like first-hand experience. You get on a playlist, you fucking blow up for a month or two, and you're like, oh my god, we did it, baby. And then the next week it just shuffles and you're like, oh no.
Right. I feel like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can go first.
I'll go first.
I feel like, and to kind of help combat that part, I feel like it just helps your career in the long term to make yourself distinct from other Joe Schmoes, potentially in the same playlist or in your league, because like if you're in that playlist, you know, there's a possibility you'll get a fan from a passive listener. But I think just making yourself sonically, but also just kind of visually or some kind of brand, you
worth making a remark about.
Exactly, like making yourself memorable,
and
then
worth telling a friend about.
Exactly, I think that'll help you.
In your experience, how important would you say artwork, album covers are on Spotify specifically?
So that one, I haven't done any A/B testing to make a point of, but just in general, just from reading marketing and stuff, being visually appealing is like super important. That's why, like, you know, Justin Bieber will pay $1 million for an album cover, because if you can get someone to stop scrolling to be like, what was that, and click on it.
Well, but that's the thing. When you look in the Spotify app of the phone, the album cover is very small on
less
the
important
page.
on Spotify.
That's the thing. Album cover, I think, is almost as important, if not more important, in selling the album than the actual album itself.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a shitty album cover, no one's going to click on it, even if the album is great. And if the album is shit, but everybody likes the album cover, they're going to click on it. You'll get your views. It may not blow up, but it may also blow up because people have shit taste. But that's the thing. But the thing is, on Spotify, like if I was to open up the app right now, and you know, just go, because it's like I have a pretty big phone screen, right?
Sure.
I mean, you got two of them technically.
I got two of them. Say I'm typing in, you know,
Spotify Canvases though. You got to invest in those because their videos
totally worth it. Yeah.
Those videos, more engagement because funny little moving picture. I'll check them out.
Okay, maybe the covers aren't as small as I remember them being. I never use Spotify. You know, I have it because I have Hulu and Spotify for one price, which I never use Hulu anyway. Who cares? I like having my music on like a hard drive, on like a SD card, on like physical, or offline. That's the word. But so whenever we're talking about this Spotify and like streaming stuff, it doesn't necessarily mesh.
Yeah, John checked out this entire episode.
No.
He's been out of it. This whole thing.
Yeah, I've just been here scrolling Twitter the past half an hour.
So can you just repeat the last hour and a half of what we've talked about?
And to that point, it's also been a realization for me is that I think in general, we've all been like, oh, I'll just do what I like and that'll work. And a realization for me has been like, oh, wow, people do things that I don't do. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? So if you don't check your email very often, there are people out there that do. And it's like, what? Why do they do that? I think some people, everyone listens on Spotify, but then there's people like John that like, if you send me a Spotify link, I'm not going to click it because I don't do Spotify. You know what I mean? So
I have Spotify, so if you do send me that Spotify link, I can click on it.
And don't ruin the metaphor.
You know the point.
I'm sorry.
Not specifically you.
But to go back to what Disco was saying about like, you know, kind of like building that Spotify, like, you know, remarkability and stuff. It's also another part of like playlisting and stuff is that it gets funny because then you're not really in control of your own destiny. Because now you're reliant on Spotify, the platform, or the playlist or whatever to do that. And that's why I'm going to hypothetically start this whole email thing, because then at the end of the day, I'm in control of my relationship with people who like my music. Yeah. I don't have to worry about Joe Schmo playlister to make sure that I get my stuff on there. It's like, you like my stuff, let's talk. You know what I mean? Let's get you know what I mean?
In a similar way, even though it is still on Spotify, but like I look at my stats every day just because I like to watch it go up and down. But like, it's like you're all of a sudden like your ratio, it shows your ratios where your stuff's coming from. And even though like certain parts were like lowering, I noticed that like Spotify, or it was like listeners' own library would go up, because it would be like, oh, actually, even though my plays decreased by this amount, that like the algorithm didn't pick it up this week, but like more people than last week have it saved now, and it's like it's going up and up, meaning like they're sticking. It's not like the whole lo-fi hip hop, like
Active versus passive.
Yeah. It's like they're getting into it. They're remembering it. They're remembering the Sans sample, the Sonic music shit, which is cool, I guess. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you are probably
I'm
busy.
chilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either we can keep going, or we can do a little after show. It's up to you if you have more to say on this topic. If you want to we'll talk about IRL still. We barely even scratched it, maybe.
Yeah. I'm chilling. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I think from marketing wise, I said my piece. I guess.
Yeah, it was a good one
Just for,
too. I felt like I was at a TED talk.
Yeah.
No,
But
this has been
IRL stuff. Oh yeah. Go for it.
I was just going to say this has been a valuable conversation. Really.
Oh, dude, hit me up whenever. Dude. I'm always down. I've been even my like close friends that like aren't in Vaporwave are like, will you shut up? I'm like, that's all I do at work. I
Stop
watch videos
trying
all
to
day.
sell me your course, man. I'm not going to buy your $9.99 course on Skillshare at Skillshare.com/Groovy Kaiju.
Yeah. If you're gonna just
I don't have
what's the
a Skillshare.
promo code? Just get it out already. Come on.
I don't have it.
Oh. Damn. What do you
But,
Hey, you keep this up, you might get one.
yeah, who knows?
My friend Samir found out that a lot of those websites, the promo code thing is actually kind of bullshit. If you can type in anything into those promo code bars and they'll give you a discount. It's just to track where they're coming from. And so he always says use promo code Samir, and it just works. And some of the websites like Dollar Shave Club, he's like, I just use promo code Samir. And I was like, do you think we could just throw your name in all these sites and people go, who the fuck is Samir? Who do we sponsor that's Samir? And it's just that's so funny.
My God,
use promo code Samir. Like, we don't even pay this guy. He's just
wait a second. Disco.
What's up?
Did you do that with the disco sauce thing? Was that all fake?
What do you mean?
Was Discoholic?
Was that all fake?
Promo code
Okay.
Discoholic. Just like I could have typed in promo code Christ, and it would have gotten
No. Okay, so what happened was my friend showed me this company in New York, and they were called Disco Sauce. I was like, cool, I'll buy it as a meme and make a video with it because in Disco Sauce. And then they found out about me, and they're like, hey, we like what you're doing. Here, something for your fans. Discoholic, 20% off. Keep it between you and me. And so I was like, hey, I put out another video. Hey, by the way, you can use promo code Discoholic 10 for, I forget the actual discount now, but it's a real discount.
Oh, for a second there, you had, I swear. Use promo code Samir. for anything, and see what happens.
Use promo code Channel Awesome on Stamps.com.
Well, let's hit it. We got plugs, right? Let's start with Jay-Z.
Hi, I'm Jay-Z. You can follow me on Foundation at Jay-Z. Business Casual this week. We had a new album from Day Driver. And then last week we had a new release from Yumi Rose.
Yo.
So if you want to check those out, they're out digitally right now. AOL vinyl still in stock, on sale now. They're 16 something. 16. I can't remember exactly.
Use promo code Samir to get 20% off your AOL vinyl.
Yes. Don't do that, please. I'm already. Just okay. That, and I got a new single that came out last month on Spotify. So I guess I got plugged by Spotify now.
Yo,
Streaming on that.
Nice.
Nice.
Disc. Oh.
Hi. So there's like a stream tomorrow, and it would be so awesome if you could come WDSK 97.9
Whisper that again
FM.
into my ears.
WDSK.
In my eyes.
Whisper it into my eyes.
Sorry, repeat the link. I feel like I talked over it.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. Twitch.tv/Discoholic.
Hey, do you have a? Can I get your number?
Can you whisper that into my eyes? Holy shit.
Yo, can I get your number?
Holy small. Nice head.
He's lost all of his power.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm
You know,
Chinese.
well,
You're laughing. You're trying. Oh, big head.
that's all I wanted to say.
Groovy? What you got?
Yeah.
Promo
What do I got?
anything from any time, just in case no one knows, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. So I had Destroy All Monsters come out. That's doing awesome. Did really well because Spotify marketing. But also, just everyone who like supported. I really appreciate everyone there. So that's out. We sold out like cassettes, but it's on Spotify. It's on my Bandcamp. Feel free to pick it up. I'd appreciate it if you did because you're awesome. And then I guess one thing I'll say is because of all this, hypothetical email stuff I'm trying out, I have a bunch of B-sides from Still Groovy and Destroy All Monsters of just like unfinished collabs or like songs that just didn't make the cut because they didn't fit in the album very well, or at least in Spotify as a single, but never really did anything with them. That I'm gonna listen to another tape. So it's gonna be called Monster Tape 0, and I'm probably gonna hopefully be done with it around November-ish. No, Destroy All Monsters just came out, but can try the email thing out and see how you like it. So yeah. And it's and I already got the cover commission from the same artist who did Destroy All Monsters, and it's gonna be like Take Me to Your Leader from King Ghidorah. It's like anime style, so it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool.
Oh,
so
I like
yeah.
that.
Well, while I have you real quick, how much of legal pressure did you really feel changing your name?
None at all.
Oh,
So I really did it
Is that future proofing?
Yeah, it's future proofing because working with Pacific Plaza, so also let me just do a quick shout out to Alex because all this
shouts
IRL
out.
stuff we're talking about would not exist in SoCal if it's not for him. So thank you, Alex, and Bakari boys like Reese and Nugado, but at least in the Orange County, LA area. Thank you, Alex. So when we started doing Still Groovy and stuff, I just didn't feel comfortable someone else being legally responsible for my joke in 2014 of like, hey, let me use Godzilla in my name because no one's gonna listen to it anyways. And then you know what I mean? So I want to change it now because that way 3 years from now someone's like, you made X amount of dollars off of selling vinyl with the word Godzilla on it. We're gonna sue you and Alex. I didn't want that at all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, so I just changed the name.
I support. I support that. I just miss the alliteration.
I know, dude. I love
Groovy
alliteration.
Groovy, you should have called it.
Wait,
All the
wait,
real fans know.
Do I have to worry about
Kaiju.
Groovy
coming
guy.
after me?
Your
Huh?
Jesus is gonna come after you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Christ.
Jesus.
Hey,
And
don't spite me.
Give me back those 2 T's.
you think there's any legal ground for my name? I don't think so. I don't even think so. I
So
don't
there's a
think-
trademark database you can look up. If you just look up trademark database, and you can look up the word 3D Blast.
Well, it's probably Sonic 3D Blast that's
Exactly.
trademarked and not
Yeah,
3D
so-
Blast.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You can technically get away with the name like Groovy God. I'm not a lawyer, but I think there is some ground of which I could be like, well, it's not
Well,
Godzilla. It's
like, what about like
Groovy Godzilla. They don't
Fallout
exist.
Boy? Is that copyrighted from The Simpsons? Like, I wonder if there was anything with that.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
like-
Wait, what?
Fallout Boy is from The Simpsons. Radioactive Man and Fallout Boy.
Oh, I don't know, man. A little bit.
You know,
But yeah. So I guess I'm bringing this up just because you can, if you look up the trademark for Groovy, the word Groovy is trademarked. So but the word Groovy Kaiju isn't, and there's all types of weird trademarky things. So just using the word 3D Blast might not be, even if Sonic 3D Blast is. So you know what I mean?
Is that why Groovy got taken down? Is because
of-
whoever
Groovy
owned
Kaiju.
Groovy?
Groovy
Well,
Kaiju
Microsoft
trademarked
came
it and
after
the bot went
fucking
down.
Groovy?
I trademarked Groovy Bot. Yeah, I was like, nah, this can't exist. I have a Discord server now. Sorry.
Gotta name yourself Groovy. You gotta go through me.
Well, in
Okay,
terms of
go
me, check me out on Twitch. Let's just randomly throw in listen to Music Here to Stay out on Spotify. While we're talking about it, check me out on Spotify. Why not? A lot of cool stuff. There's a single on there that's the newest track I put out, and oh my god, look at it!
And notice how it's not open because I don't listen. I'm kidding. I'm messing around. I listen to the cassette more. That's why.
Not good. Just kidding.
Yeah. He's saving it for the right occasion.
I'm saving it for Discogs. No, I'm kidding. Obviously.
Actually, it's going up. Don't pull John Zabelli and sell your Mo Shop tape for $100. Wait till it's $600 and then sell it.
Fiverr sold his for 500, 600.
Yep.
Crazy.
This is also kind of a weird plug, but there's a company called Roll20. They're like a Dungeons and Dragons app, and they are going to start like a new Twitch stream kind of podcast style thing. If this, like I said, if by any chance you're watching that, the theme song might sound cool because I made it.
Yo, that's dope. Hell yeah.
So there's that. That's kind of a weird plug. More of just a brag. And then what else we got? I swear I had some other stuff. Lots of music. I have a lot of music on my plate. I think something is coming out in November. Expect a song in some regard. There's two projects I'm working on that I'm not sure when they come out, but that's two brand new tracks. And then I have a collab. Like, there's actually music in the works for probably this year, that's news, baby. So check it out. Let's. I hope you're excited. Get a tattoo of my logo. That's free.
Okay. So okay. Wait, Groovy, you got a tattoo of yours?
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick and show it on the mic.
Has anybody in here else got like a tattoo of their logo or something like made for somebody else? Dan has. Dan has got a thing like that. I swear to God, if anybody gets a Christ tattoo, I'm going to kill them. That is a registered trademark of Christ. Yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh wow,
man.
Yeah, so you can see their name, Mr. Joestar on Instagram. But yeah. They got it done.
Shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sick.
It's the coolest. I need to get the same one because I feel bad. I'm like, wow, you're more about it than I am. That's wild.
I wouldn't get this shit, but props to you.
I'll save it for the after show. But let's
head out of here. We gotta wait for the thumbnail, and we'll see you guys in the after show.
Bye.
John Wayne.
Oh.
Goodbye.